Hello and welcome to my Advanced Maths and AI coursework video for question 4. Today I will go through what I did for it. So as you can see, let's start. So for question 4 we have like a procedural terrain generation. Let's start. So as you can see, when you press play, a random terrain is generated. So if you keep pressing the button down here, reload, a different terrain will load up each time. So let's start. I'm also pathfinding is integrated into this, so we're using the BFS because it is the one that is quite quick and it did it in least amount of visits, usually all the time. I did like a test where I tested it 5 times, all the algorithms 5 times, and this one was the quickest and was the one that the quickest and did the least amount of visits, and it was the easiest one to implement. Is the code I've currently got. So for example, we just did BFSS to, there you go, it tells you how many visits it did. So for example, that one it took, so that's that much time and it did that many visits, and it does it. What it does is when you click BFS, it gets a random number, a random goal each time. So you just keep pressing that, go and eventually, it will go for all of them that are currently there. As you can see, it does. Under here is actually, you see the white and the red. This is actually a grid. So all the red bits are obstacles. So when it does the pathfinding, it will go around them. As you can see here, it's trying to get to this one there. So it goes and then goes around the mountain. It will do it for every single one. The next thing you can also do is k-means clustering. This is where, so as you can see, these white cylinders here, these are called centroids, and each centroid has a different object type around it. So this one would be, for example, let's say that would be an interactable one. So these things are pressure plates. So when you walk over them, they will, like, I'll show you. So when you walk over them, it says, "Oh, pressure plate has been pressed." And when you walk off, it says, "Oh, pressure plate has not been pressed." And you've got different objects like mines. So this is a trap, so when it blows up, it takes your health down to 60 points. And if you want to be healed, there's like, you can see a chocolate button. You go and pick that up, and that will heal you. So let's get to it. There, as you can see, your health has gone up, but you picked it up. One thing I've actually added in is that wasn't in here before was a thing where you can rotate around the world and see. Oh, so you can actually, because originally it was like this. So for example, if the player went around there, you'll be able to see them. So you can do the k-means clustering. So let's start with more back in the world. So as you can see, so we do next step. So as you can see, this so what k-means clustering does, it sets all the same points within the vicinity of a centroid to the same type. That's about of the same type. So for example, this centroid here is a trap one, so it's going to set all the points around it to the trap type object, which is the mine. There's two different traps. There's a mine trap and and spikes. Each object type has 2 different types. So for example, over here, there's 2 different types of enemies. One's a shooting enemy, one's a melee enemy. There's 2 different pickup buttons, but one's a coin and one's a health pack. And like pressure plate and a switch. Yeah, now I'll go through the code, some of the code I've written. So for the train generation, I actually merged. So for the whole generation of this whole world, I actually merged the train generation, the grid generation, and the k-means all together, and connected all the scripts together, because I think the grid, especially the train and grid generation, because originally the grid generator that we got it did it on like a flat terrain and completely ignored mountains, so we just put obstacles in random places, but that wouldn't work for me. So what I did is in the train generation, so originally the grid would like work on its own, and so I just like disabled that for the minute and then went to train generator. And what I did in grid generator, I broke down each thing. So I broke the walkable tile into a separate function, along with the obstacle, along with the goals, along with even the player node, and it would actually update the player node. So when you clicked randomly in a position on the map, it would do the BFS from that new position, because, well, of course that's much better, because you wouldn't want to do it from the position you started. For example, this is like a massive terrain map. and let's say you went into, well, let's say you're now on a different mountain, you somehow spawned, or let's say you jumped onto a new mountain, you like jumped across, you should be able to, it should be pathfinding where you currently are, not from where you started. So if you did the pathfinding mountain, it will mean, and the object was a different mountain, the pathfinding will find, oh, you can't go there, that object is not reachable at this current time. Yeah, so let's get back to train generation. So how I got that working, you know, oh damn, yeah, ooh, there it is, went a bit wrong there. Yeah, so how I got all this to work along, you know, the red obstacles and the white, right grid underneath. This is actually quite easy to do. So what I did was, so in the create mesh function in the train generation, I took the height of the vertices that it currently was, and then what I did was, and then I got the z and the x. So here is, so in this bit here, it checks if the z is currently 0, or the x is currently 0, or the z is the same as the current depth. The x, the current depth of the map, and the current x, the x is the current width of the thing, width of the current width, which means it will generate an obstacle, or that's for like making the the boundaries around the side of the map. And for to find if it's a mountain or not, I added another variable here called previous height equals current height, and what this does, it compares the current height that it's got with the previous height. So for example, if it's higher, if it's lower, that means it must be a side of a hill or a mountain. So spawn an obstacle and keep doing that, and anything else the rest of the time, that means it must be a flat bit of ground, so spawn a walkable tile. So after I've done that, the next thing was to get the goals working. And since there's the same number of goals as points, I had to make sure, so what I did was in the k-mean script and in the grid generation script, I connected both the number of goals and number of points integers together, so they always stayed the same. Even if you updated one, it would update the other one as well. So as you can see here, it clears all of the, so it clears all every time it does this. It clears it, so essentially it clears it and makes, so in case the iron in the edge just clears it out, the optimization, all that, make it good. And yeah, and it spawns a number of goals that you set at the beginning. So for example, if you want to have 10 goals or 15 goals, there you go. As you can see, we show you, so in the procedural train generation, yeah, you can say, oh, I want 15 goals, and let's say if you change it to 10 goals, it would spawn 10 goals instead of 15. There you go, and many different, what else? I actually also had another previous, before I got the grid generation working, I actually had a previous create and check path, and that was using the nav mesh. But I just did that as a rough thing to check, if does my current spawn generation work and all that. I just did that as testing when I'm just to do some testing. What else? Oh yeah, another thing I did in here. So as you can see in the terrain, there's an actual boundary now, even a physical boundary. Because before in the original train generation, it was just like the sides were flat, and I didn't like that because there's a chance that the player could either walk off. And it just didn't really look good. So what I did was, within the train generation code, and gotta find it now. I think it's not the creator mesh code. It's in here. It is, so setting the boundaries. So what it does here, it explains the text. So if the x, so like up before, it sets the heights, or it just sets the edges to a mountain, so it's a boundary, and that's what it does. Yeah, and one thing I did actually, so as you can see, originally in the k-means, it would just check, originally the k-means you got was just for setting the color of the objects, but I wanted to change it too, so it would set the different types of objects. So I actually had to make some major changes. So if I load up the k-means script, there it goes. So as you can see, so if you go down here, the list of different types, and there's 4 different types that you can have, and then each centroid is set to that one. So there's only one type of each so there's only one type of each centroid in the map. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it for everything I've done. Oh yeah, that's just for generating the centroids. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you're happy with all this. Yes, and thanks for watching, and goodbye.